Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below, and also at the top of the chat. You can't miss it. You can find updates there regarding Elevating Traders. You can join discussion with other traders, including myself, and of course, you can find a discount code there and meet other traders as well. So if you're interested in joining the community, check it out. Links in the description and also the top of the chat. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Will, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Mo, what is up? Ninad, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Ahmed, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. So as always, guys, we'll go through the USD side of things, take a look at the DXY, take a look at USD majors, have a look at gold and silver, see what's happening in those departments. And of course, if you do have any particular pairs you do want to see my thoughts and opinions on, drop it down in the chat. And of course, if you're looking at a certain time frame, let me know as well if you do want me to check it out. But we'll start with USD. And more specifically, we'll start with the dollar, which at the moment is still looking pretty bearish. I'm still looking for price to turn around. 107 is kind of my area where I'm looking for a high low to form. Whether it does form or not, we'll see. But in regarding the previous bullish leg here on the 4-hour chart, so of course, after creating this high, we created this high low, which of course went and create that high. So I'm looking for potentially a pullback of this bullish leg for price to continue higher. At the moment, from an intraday level, things are looking pretty bearish for the dollar. We are still seeing lower lows and lower highs on an intraday level, as we can all see here. Another high over there, another one, looks like another one just formed this morning. So price is really, really bearish on the lower time frames, and it's up to price to turn that around. Whether we keep falling or we start to find support here, we'll see and monitor as price does develop. But from an intraday point of view, things are looking pretty bearish. And if I kind of just delete all these drawings, from an intraday level, it does look like price had a nice break and retest of this prior low on the left, and use it as resistance. And since opening up for the week, we pushed up, test that area, and now price is selling off pretty aggressively. So for dollar, like I said, I'm looking for price to turn around in this area, more specifically this consolidation on the left, which gave us a really strong move to the upside of all that momentum a few weeks ago. So if we can see some evidence of price turning around in here, I do think the buys will look good to take price higher. Of course, if that doesn't hold as support and we don't see any kind of buying pressure step in, if we do start breaking through, I'm not necessarily bearish on the dollar, but I will be looking to relax that bullish bias. And if dollar keeps falling and takes out this low, then I'll be very bearish on the dollar, expecting a lot more downside, because at that point, probably also breaking underneath this level on the weekly chart, which is a strong indication that, okay, this move that we had at the start of the year is probably just a fake out, and we could be looking at a really big swing back to the lower end of the range. So yeah, we could be looking at dollar flipping that bias if we should take out structure, which of course hasn't done yet. So not going to get too ahead of ourselves just yet. But if we don't start to show some evidence of turning around pretty soonish, we have to start looking at that move happening. But for now, this is what I'm looking for price to turn around. Euro USD, pretty much the same thing as well. Intraday, things are still looking pretty bullish. You can see numerous high lows on the way to the upside here. Looks like we might have just done another one again this morning. This is what I was referring to in the weekly analysis. Nice retest of that high. Looks like we might be using that for some new highs to start the week off. Oh, don't know what happened there. Some new highs past that point there to start the week off. However, again, looking at the larger structure for Euro, this high, which of course gave us this lovely bearish leg just before we created that low. So lower low, lower high, lower low again. So again, essentially looking for the pullback of that move. And again, we're trading in an area where we could see that lower high form. However, no evidence of that yet. I think as the dollar finds support, we'll probably see Euro USD do the exact same thing. So again, if we could start to see some evidence of a lower high forming, that would be nice. And I will be looking for that swing. Short opportunity back to the lows, and of course looking for the same on the DXY back to its respective highs. But as of yet, no real sign of that happening. And we're kind of just sustaining this bullish trend. So we'll see how far that continues, whether it is going to keep pushing or we are going to turn around. But this is the area I'm looking for some sells. Again, if you are intraday on Euro USD, kind of already want to be in the position. Price has already found support for the day, and looks like we are continuing back to the high there. So yeah, initially kind of want to already be in the trade unless we do come back for another retest. But yeah, looking bullish intraday and probably going to keep pushing. Pound USD, I like the sells, slightly better than Euro actually. It's a little bit cleaner. Coming back into a really nice level here at 1.25. And again, looking to see if we can form a lower high in this area. And again, looking to see if I can swing it back to the lows. If I zoom out, you can see overall the structure here for pound. We had the original high over there, another lower high, another lower high. So again, looking for that sequence to continue and another lower high, and retest that level is a great place for it. At the moment, no real indication of us turning over yet and selling off, so staying patient. But pound USD definitely is in an area where we could see that happen. Now it's just up to price to give us that confirmation that we are likely to turn around and not to continue being bullish. But again, intraday we are pushing pretty strong. That was a really strong 4-hour candle closure actually. Nice wick to the downside, no wick to the upside. So there's a lot of momentum on the lower time frames, as we saw with the dollar as well. Pushing pound USD up, euro up, and of course with the dollar falling. But we are in an area where I'm looking to sell. So hopefully in the next day or two, might see some nice evidence there on the 4-hour chart for some shorts and could take price lower. But I am looking for some more downside from this area. In terms of dollar CAD, I believe, are we still in the range or have we broken out? Nope, still in the range. So again, not really interested with the price action for dollar CAD. As long as we stay in the range, there's not a lot for me to do here. As I say, I'm waiting for momentum, and momentum will come after we get the breakout. So really, I just have to wait for that. As long as we stay within the range, I'm not really interested in the price action. On my weekly analysis, I was talking about price breaking the high, looking for pullbacks afterwards, and even breaking the low and looking for some shorts afterwards as well. Either way, there could be a nice opportunity here for dollar CAD. I still do think longer term we're headed to that weekly high around 1.46, 1.47. So longer term, this is the target I'm looking for dollar CAD to get to, retest that high, which we've had 2 prior rejections from. I do think we can go get a third. However, we might push the downside first, collect some buyers, maybe retest some structure before we go and do that. Or maybe the market's already bullish and it's going to break to the upside and continue. That's going to be up to dollar CAD. But whether we break the downside first or the upside first, I do think there'll be some nice opportunities because we've been consolidating for a while. So the breakout should have some decent momentum to it. And some shorts and a retest could look very good. So keep an eye on 1.43, and I'll keep an eye on the high here around 1.446. In terms of Aussie dollar, still looking at a bit more retracement for this one. Still looking a bit more retracement. It's very, very corrective down at these lows. So I'm not really interested in getting involved at those prices, but as I've been suggesting over the past couple of weeks, we've taken out some major lows here to the left. So again, in terms of shorts, I don't want to be actively looking to short at these prices anymore, at least from a swing point of view. Day trading, of course, if you're just looking to short for a session or short for a day, you could probably get away with those time periods. But if you're looking to short for potentially a whole week, this is not the best place to be looking to sell the market. You do want price to relieve itself, come up a little bit, find some other areas where we could form a lower high, and that potentially could be a trade that goes a lot further in your favor. So yeah, that's kind of really what I'm looking at for Aussie dollar, and the area I'm looking to get involved is still the break and retest of this low, really strong level of support in the daily chart, which could be turn resistance and could send price back down. So that's really where I want to see Aussie dollar end up. I'm not too far away. Hopefully a couple of days we could be talking about price respecting that area and looking for some shorts. But again, from an intraday point of view, very, very consistent with these high lows. And looks like we're probably going to see another one this morning. So if you are on the lower time frames for the USD pairs, I would be looking to actively buy. Of course, I'm still pretty bearish longer term, but doesn't mean we can't see a day or 2 or 3 or even more of some bullish momentum, which could look good on the lower time frames. In terms of New Zealand dollar, again, pretty much the same analysis as Aussie dollar, except this one hasn't quite broken through the low yet. Yeah, we haven't quite done that yet with New Zealand dollar, but I do expect us to do it pretty soon. So hence, I still expect more downside. In terms of the areas I'm looking to short from, there's a couple really nice levels on the daily chart. You've got the swing low here, connecting this low, really strong bounce, looking for the retest as resistance. Or you've got the double bottom over here as well, which looks equally as good. And again, an area which I would love to short from and potentially look to swing it back down again. Of course, whether it goes all the way down to the low, I'll be trading stops. So that might not be the case, but that's the direction I'll be looking to trade in. And similar to Aussie dollar, you can see we are fairly corrective here. So I do expect to see a lot more upside in the next kind of coming days with New Zealand dollar as a pullback. Same with Aussie dollar as well. So again, from an intraday point of view, there might be some nice buys on the way up towards those levels in the short term before we do look to sell later on. So if you are interested in those two pairs specifically, I think intraday buys look good. In terms of gold and silver, so gold, we have not made all-time highs yet. Very, very close to, but we had a bit of a dip in the market, which is interesting because I generally thought that would probably wake up Monday morning and price already be creating new highs. But we had a bit of a gap to the downside and we've looked a little bit bearish. I know the last 4 hour kind of did close bullish, but we've had a bit of a reaction. So there is still hope for gold longs. I'm still looking to see if I can get the retest of the high here. I was originally looking for the retest after we had that first initial breakout and things were looking a little bit bearish over there, but we didn't quite see the retest, unfortunately. So I wonder, are we going to see the retest now? And if we do, are we looking for entries? Get involved in gold around 27.20, and of course, targets right back to where we came from, back to that swing high, all-time high, and hopefully further as well. But yeah, very, very bullish in gold. This one's been so consistent with these high lows on the 4 hour chart, as we can see. So just looking for that to continue really. And now that we've got the green light for the breakout of this 27.20 level, I would expect it to hold a support and give us that final push to take out those highs. And who knows how far we could go from there. But yeah, very, very bullish in gold. I did say intraday, keep an eye on the retest of this area. It looks like that level has broken through very, very easily. So if we can get a deeper pullback, that will be much appreciated. But yeah, in terms of direction and expectation for gold, is very, very bullish. And finally, we go through silver. So silver, again, same situation, looking for a big move to the upside, back to the weekly swing highs eventually. But silver's taking its sweet time and price action isn't looking that great, to be honest. It's very, very corrective here. So it kind of gives me the impression that silver might be forming some type of pullback for this bearish leg here, which happened a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, I wonder if this is just another pullback for price to see another bearish move to the downside. That could be the case. Again, I am bullish longer term with silver, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen right now. We could still see another bearish leg to the downside or two before we do see the continuation. So that could be the case. The important thing is not to jump the gun too early, again, to a trade that hasn't really set itself yet. So in terms of bias, pretty much set for me. Still looking at another higher high eventually for silver. So there's an original high, higher low, higher high, looking for another higher low somewhere, again for another higher high. So that is the plan. But in terms of finding entries and trading it, not quite set yet. Gold looks pretty straightforward to me. Clear level to buy from, clear momentum in the market. Silver lagging behind a lot. So I do think silver will eventually catch up and there will be some nice buying opportunities. But yeah, as of yet, not quite seeing that. It's becoming way too corrective. And we might actually see another bearish leg here for silver. So I would watch out for that. But yeah, that's kind of really where I'm at with silver, gold, USD pairs, respectively. What's up, Emmanuel? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. JPY strength looks like it has returned. Yeah, JPY pairs are down on the day, 100%. JPY pairs have been so choppy the past week or so. price action hasn't been clean. Dark Sean, good morning. GJ started a big drop, hit 94, sold aggressive, but got an entry, but was snoring as usual. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it happens, my man. Pound yen doesn't wait for no one, as any market really. But yeah, we'll take a look at GJ as well. Jafar, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hey Ben, what is up? Good morning. What we buying this week? Indices rug pull overnight. Yeah, I was surprised at that as well. I was expecting NAS and US 30 just to go and take out their all-time highs and keep going. But yeah, really aggressive sell-off to the downside. Really aggressive. I'll go through GJ and then I'll take a look at a few indices because I don't know where that came from. I was expecting them just to keep pushing, but yeah, really big sell. And I'm pretty sure Bitcoin is down as well. So we'll take a look at that. But yeah, in terms of pound yen, and we'll go through the yen pairs shortly. But yeah, seeing some momentum to the downside here for the yen pairs. I was looking for a reaction here, but again, we had an initial reaction at I think about 2 a.m. when that initial candle closed after opening for the week. And since then, we've been pretty bullish and selling off pretty aggressively. So with pound yen, I'm still not the biggest fan of the shorts right now, just because we are still pretty consistent with these higher lows. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in terms of the sells, there's not a lot of room for me to work with because there is a strong anticipation for another higher low to form. And the better sell for me would be if we could push back to the highs. I know we're very far away from that, but in terms of risk reward, in terms of entry, in terms of stop loss placement as well, it takes a lot of boxes to be up nearer to the high there for the short. Here we're kind of just in the middle of, lower highs and higher lows as well. So very, very choppy price action in terms of the bigger scheme of things for pound yen. But of course, this morning we're seeing a lot of momentum from this level here. And I wonder, is this the real deal? Is yen strength really here to stay? Or is this just going to be another one of those, it's here to stay for like 2 days and it just disappears again? In terms of the cleanness of the price action, not a big fan of it, to be honest. Not a big fan. And as we approach some of these areas, I do think we can probably have a bit of a bounce there for pound yen. And that is the wrong tool completely. I do think we have a bit of a bounce here for pound yen. Again, I'm not necessarily looking for a big swing for this one, but I do think this is a nice area for buyers to sit back into the market because, again, you can see these higher lows, aggressive buying pressure, really nice push to the upside. Another one there as well. So we are seeing evidence of some really nice bullish legs from these areas. And as long as we can respect structure, there's always a potential push to continue that trend. So I would say as we approach 192.5, this is now coming back to bullish territory. I would say there could be a bit of a bounce there for pound yen. But yeah, in terms of the bigger move, I'm not quite convinced just yet with pound yen and a lot of the yen pairs. Really, I like dollar yen though. Dollar yen still looks really good, and we'll get to that at some point. But yeah, I still don't like how we're forming these higher lows. We formed 4 of them as well. So there's a good chance that number 5 could form at some point. So I have to be careful of that. So if pound yen could push back to the highs there, that would be very much appreciated from myself because that's really where I want to sell from. Again, not necessarily that, I won't take a loss there, but if it does play out, looking at a really big risk reward, it's a entry where if it does play out, you can probably hold into that for a very long time if things go well. And I can get a safe stop loss, which is a big thing as well. Stop loss above there is not too bad, but it's just I wouldn't hold into that trade for the long term because I'm not really in a safe place. I'm kind of in the middle of things. It's a bit more of an intraday opportunity rather than swing. But yeah, really nice reaction this morning, as we've seen across the board for the yen pairs. But yeah, not necessarily quite convinced that this JPY strength is the real deal. But we'll see. Maybe I get proven wrong. Okay, so we'll take a look at a few of the indices. Then we'll go over to Bitcoin as well. What's up, CS Integrated? Hope you're well. Glad you entered the XY long, waiting for 106.493 as last line defense on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, we'll have a look at that as well. Okay, so yeah, but the XY looking pretty bearish this morning. So yeah, NAS 100, I was expecting this guy just to go and take out the highs there, but look at that. That is a huge rug pull on the indices. But yeah, really aggressive gap to the downside, and then price is just absolutely bleeding up the sky here. I was expecting us just to keep that momentum up, go take out these highs. Maybe after then we might see a bit of a correction, but yeah, this is not really a correction. This is more like a tanking. Correction's a bit more corrective, hence the name. But this is some really aggressive momentum, and there's a lot of momentum in that last 4-hour candle as well. So yeah, I wonder what this means, because when we do see this type of price action for the indices, my thinking is, okay, the market is bleeding. Where is it going to go find support? And which levels are we going to break through? Because if we do start taking out some of these lows here, that to me is a bit more of a bearish sign that we could be heading to the downside a little bit longer than expected. Because after that, we've got lower highs now, we've got lower lows now. So, and especially with that momentum as well, I would expect another correction and probably another bearish leg. So, yeah, if we were to do that, I do think more downside is to come for at least NAS 100. If you're going to respect support and we just kind of hold that support level again, then we could very much just form a larger consolidation here and eventually use that to continue higher. So if we can hold on to this, it could be a great place for actually a buy to swing it back to the highs and so on and so forth. So if we can respect it, it does become a nice bullish opportunity for a swing, because we were continuing to the upside, grinding higher. Now this might just be an opportunity where if you want to hold a buy for a few weeks, this could be a really nice location for that. But let's see where we find support. If it is at that level, could be some nice buys. If you do break through, then I would actually favor another bearish leg. Again, in terms of the grand scheme of things, everything is still relatively bullish. This is kind of like our last major high-low NAS did put in before creating that next higher high. So we could potentially, have a pullback, something like this, back into this kind of area here, connecting those swing points back into kind of the 19,200 area. So, of course, we might see more downside, but it probably just a bigger pullback, as it always is, for price to continue back to the highs. And this could be the kind of area we're looking at that buy happening. So, yeah, very, very bearish morning for NAS, not looking too good. If we can respect support, we might just bounce straight back up again. If we break through, might see a slightly deeper correction. But at the minute, we're just falling out the sky right now. S&P 500, this guy doing the exact same thing, but at least S&P actually took out the highs. This is what I expected NAS to do. Not, of course, sell off as aggressively as it's looking right now, but expecting at least new highs created before we have some type of pullback. Of course, in this instance, we are falling really aggressively. But again, if I zoom out to the higher time frames with S&P as well, it's the same situation as NAS. This is kind of like our larger channel the market is operating in. We might just be seeing a bigger pullback of this situation. So again, we might be coming back to some of these areas, 500-600, before potentially a bigger buy does take place, because we are still very bullish longer term, but maybe it's time for a bigger correction. But yeah, it's selling up the sky. I'll just wait for this to actually start to find support, show some evidence of support forming, because we just don't know how big of a move this is. It could just be a few candles, or could be selling off for a few days. But yeah, really aggressive momentum there as well. And of course, US 30 pretty much doing the exact same thing as well. This one expecting again price to grind higher, take out that higher least. But to be fair, this one's not selling off as hard. Yeah, some momentum. We broke through that consolidation there, but I would still be looking to buy this one. In fact, I think this is still looking like a nice buy for a retest of this level here. If I whip out the fib from the low to the high, lines up pretty well with the 50. So yeah, I would still say US 30. This looks like a nice buying opportunity, actually. I would still like the opportunity there for US 30. Looks really good. This one not seeing as much momentum as the others as well. So yeah, I mean, longer term, same thing for the indices, really. Still very bullish, but we might be seeing a slightly deeper correction, which again is a thing that indices do as well. You should have to look back at prior price action. we don't just move up forever. We do have some steep corrections as well. But I think US 30 still looks like an attractive buy. Euro yen, yes, we'll take a look. Blessing, no problem. First, let me just go through Bitcoin. Then I'll take a look at the DXY for CS integrated. Then we'll go through the yen pairs altogether. Really, we'll be interested to see what happens on the stock. Yeah, true. Ready for the market this morning. Yeah, definitely, especially psychologically as well. People seeing, all S&P down hard, Nas down hard, probably cause some panic in the markets. 100%. And Bitcoin's down as well. Last time I checked, yeah, it's down. So it's not looking too good for the indices, crypto markets. Well, at least Bitcoin. I haven't really checked others. But yeah, Bitcoin's not looking too good. Heavy selling pressure there as well this morning. Actually started from yesterday, from Sunday. You can see that bearish candle there. I know it's not a big one, but that momentum kind of really kicked in on Sunday. And Monday's kind of just really continuing that move from yesterday. So I did say with Bitcoin, it's not healthy price action. Because we are failing at the highs here. Again, longer term, it might just be a more prolonged consolidation before eventually we break to the upside. That could well be the case. But again, the fact that we came into a high, respected it well, is not necessarily the healthiest sign of a bullish trending market. You want to see price go and break the highs, pull back, break the highs, pull back. That's a sign of a healthier trending market. Maybe not as deep pullbacks, but you guys get my point. So the fact that Bitcoin came in respect at the high was always a sign that things are not looking too good. So until we get a strong break of the high there, Bitcoin might just stay within this range for forever how long it wants to. It looks like we're coming back down to support, probably going to bounce there as well. So it's difficult to say what or when Bitcoin's going to continue that trend. I would just pay attention to really these areas in the market, waiting for price to either break the high or break the low. Because if we do break the low, then I'm looking at a bigger push back down to 74, 73K for that retest. And of course, if we do break the high, then yeah, pullbacks and more upside look good. Probably push to 120K. That's probably our next big psychological level for Bitcoin. But yeah, of course, overall, very bullish. I mean, if I expand to the weekly chart and zoom out and just put things into perspective, lovely bullish move, big consolidation, another bullish move. This might just be one of those consolidations again before another big bullish move. So nothing's really changed for Bitcoin in terms of the overall characteristics of the trend. It's still flying high pretty much. This might just be a natural healthy pause for Bitcoin before continuing, whether it is for a pullback and then the continuation, or we break the high. Either which way, Bitcoin is still very, very bullish on the higher time frames. Of course, intraday, not so much the case, but after failing at those highs, a move to the downside is pretty likely. Okay, so I'll go take a look at the dollar next, and then we'll probably just go through the yen pairs from then. What's up, Jafar? Please. Major structure on high time frames, please. You just have to look at the turning points of the market. Let me choose Euro Yen as an example. Just look at the major swings of the market. I mean, of course, it takes training. You have to become comfortable and practice makes perfect pretty much. The more time you spend doing it, the easier it becomes. But again, market structure is not always clear, especially in FX. Sometimes it becomes choppy, and you're better yet just chalking it off and waiting for structure to become clear. You don't always have to identify market structure. Sometimes you're better off kind of staying put. Like, for example, in this area here, I wouldn't really concern myself too much of whether the market's making higher highs or lower lows and lower highs, because overall this is sideways. So when the market is doing that, you kind of just box that off and treat that as consolidation. Wait for us to start actually doing lower lows and lower highs. Then we can start to look at that and trade those opportunities. Same thing to the upside as well. But in this area, you don't want to try and do too much because it's really not worth it. This is a nice example of really nice higher highs and higher lows. As you can see, that's the wrong tool. As you can see, the market being very, very consistent with that and pretty much easy to map out as well. Of course, this doesn't continue forever. Eventually, the market does eventually break structure, and then we go through a different phase of the market. But this is kind of what you're looking for, just the turning points of the market. And you can see here as well, this is another nice market structure. It doesn't look the exact same as what we identified, but pretty much doing the exact same thing as well. And then we enter kind of a more bullish phase where the pullbacks become a little bit more shorter. But again, the higher highs and higher lows continue. Then we came back and respected that low and continued there. So you just want to focus on the main points that kind of stand out to you. You don't want to get too zoomed in where you're focusing on these highs. These are more relevant to lower time frames. The major ones are more relevant to the time frame you're trading, and so on and so forth. And then it gets to a point where things get a bit choppy again. Then you probably want to just kind of stay away and just chalk that off as consolidation. And then there you got a bit more of a trend. So it takes practice. And of course, the more you practice, the better you'll come. But yeah, those are kind of important tips to consider. In terms of the dollar, so see it's integrated. You said you're looking for some buys, and 106.493 is your last line of defense. 106.493. Okay, so that's around here-ish. So yeah, I mean, with the dollar, I'm looking at pretty much the same, a similar move to you. I'm looking personally at this area here, nice consolidation, where all of that momentum came from, and price looks like it's just about now coming back to retest it. So essentially, I'm looking for some buys in this area, and I'm waiting for evidence of us putting equal lows in or a higher low in. I want to see some meaningful rejection at this area before I do anticipate some buys here for the dollar, or of course sells for euro, sells for pound. But yeah, we are coming into that last line of defense, and if you do start breaking through, then we have to consider, okay, maybe the bigger move is to the downside, especially if we go and take out this low here, because this is the low which gave us that drive to the upside. So if we do take out, if we do go and take out this low here, that completely invalidates that bullish move. And at that point, you're looking at a really big sell-off, and the bigger trend turning around. So yeah, we are coming to the last line of defense. We'll see whether the dollar wants to respect it or not. This for me is my kind of last area of defense, 107, 106.8. So I'm going to see what price does there, and hopefully we can take it to the upside. From an intraday point of view, things look pretty bearish for the dollar. If I drop to the hourly chart, you can still see price very consistent with these lower highs here. And it looks like we've just gone and formed another one there this morning on the retest of that low. So yeah, intraday time frames, everything is pointing bearish, but things could turn around very quickly. So yes, things are bearish on the lower time frames, but possibly this afternoon things could be looking bullish again. So I'm not gonna, read that as in that's the price action set in stone. Things do change, but yeah, as we come into the 107, that's what I'll be looking for price to turn around, and keeping an eye on possible buying opportunities. But I am still looking at USD pushing up. I'm still looking at sales and pound USD. That's probably my favorite USD pair at the moment. Really nice bearish leg, of course, creating these lower lows here, and now we're looking like we're pulling back into this high, this low, sorry, which potentially could form a lower high to push price back down and eventually back to the lows there as well. So we're in a really nice area where a low high could form for pound, just as we are for the dollar. So they're both kind of in sync. Euro is in a similar situation, but pound looks a bit cleaner to me. So I'd rather look to trade this one. But yeah, if I can find some opportunities in this area, I'll be looking to take some trades. But at the moment, nothing really for me. Still looking pretty bullish. In terms of euro yen, and I'm just going to go through the yen pairs all together. Yeah, just playing the waiting game 100%. I need to go through the news. I haven't actually looked at the news yet. I'll go through euro yen, then I'll have a quick look and see. So yeah, euro yen, I'm not a big fan of the price action either. The price action was looking good a couple of weeks ago. when we had this high form. Let me just use the highlight tool. When we had this high form, the low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So things were pretty much straightforward, clean highs, clean lows, and we had some bearish structure on our hands there. However, we've just gone and broken to the upside, which is of course, a sign that price may want to be bullish and continue higher. Now looks like we're breaking structure against the downside here. So when price is breaking structure continuously up and down, so if you have bearish structure like this, then we break structure to the upside, then we break structure back down again. This is just for me consolidation. You can look to try and follow structure up and follow structure back down, but you're eventually just trading a range really. And it might not look textbook range, like this doesn't look like a textbook range, not necessarily equal highs, or I mean, you do have the equal lows there. But more or less, the conditions are very, very flat here for euro yen, sorry. And we're not really seeing much momentum anyway. So in terms of the cleanness of a price of price here, it's looking very, very choppy, and not interested in trading it myself until we start to show some more evidence of some more structure being broken to the downside and more momentum as well. So now I'm kind of looking at this, and then maybe I can look for a lower high in that regard there. So yeah, in terms of myself finding trades for euro yen, I think it's just very, very choppy right now. So I'm staying put. My bias in terms of where I expect price to go longer term is still very much at play. I'm still looking at this as an impulse, and this is a correction for price to eventually push the downside. So I know what I'm looking to do long term. In terms of finding entries, I need to see price either push back to the high, or I start seeing clean bearish price action again within here, and I look for a lower high somewhere. If I had to choose, it would be the push back to the high, because in here it does get a bit choppy. So I probably even won't see a clean setup. But yeah, that would be the better place for me in terms of an entry for the big swing. In terms of the current price action intraday, it just looks very, very choppy, and I wouldn't want to trade it myself. I mean, I dropped to the hourly time frame. It's not looking too good. Maybe this is price getting ready for a move to the downside. In that case, maybe keep an eye on the retest of some of these areas. But the price action looks very, very ugly, so I would stay away. But yeah, not really healthy price action there for euro yen. Have a quick look at the news, then I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs. And a lot of yen pairs are in that boat at the moment, really. Not every single opportunity in the market is a good one. Some are just absolutely rubbish, and you're better keeping your money in your account. Okay, so in terms of news today, we do have new home sales at 3 o'clock in the afternoon today, USD. Again, not the biggest event in the world. Not going to really focus too much on that myself, but hey, if you're trading intraday, I would keep an eye out for that. In terms of Tuesday price action, Tuesday news, we've got durable goods in the afternoon, 1:30. Again, for USD, not really such a big event. It can move the market, but it's not going to do a big job like an NFP would, or CPI, or interest rate. Then on Wednesday, we do have Aussie CPI. That's one to keep an eye on, especially if you're looking to trade Aussie. That could move the market quite a bit. And in the afternoon, we've got Bank of Canada interest rate. Okay. That's definitely one to keep an eye on, especially if you're trading CAD. Oh, and we've got the Fed interest rate as well. The same day. So we've got Bank of Canada interest rate in the afternoon, which is at 2:45 UK time. And then we've got Fed interest rate at 7, of course, UK time as well. So Wednesday's a bit of a big day. Thursday, Euro unemployment rate, that could cause a bit of chaos. Oh, then we got ECB interest rate, Euro interest rate at 115. Looks like it's the week of interest rates this week. Jobless claims for USD as well in the afternoon. And then Friday, employment rate USD. So yeah, quite a lot of events actually. Canada interest rate, Euro interest rate, USD interest rate. So yeah, do you want to keep an eye on those ones? Of course, there are a few more as well, but those are the three big ones that I'll be paying attention to, and Aussie CPI as well. Anyway, we'll go through the rest of the USD pairs. What's up, John? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Thoughts on pound USD. Okay, I'll take a look at that in a second. So yeah, with pound USD, yeah, so I'm looking for sells for pound. As I said, I'm still looking for buys for dollar. So of course, I'm looking for the inverse here. And we'll come to a really nice level, back into a big psychological level of 1.25, retesting some really strong support on the left, which of course now will be turn resistance. And just generally speaking, in an area where a low high could form, I think we're trading in between the 0.5 and the 0.618 of the fib. So yes, just in between. Maybe do spike a little bit higher. Excuse me, spike a little bit higher and go test the 0.618. But generally speaking, we're in a healthy area of a retracement where low high could form. Now it's up to price action to give us the confirmations for that. I'll be looking for some evidence, wicks, bearish engulfing candles at this area before looking to jump into a trade. And the risk reward looks good. Should we see a swing back to the low? You're looking at pretty healthy risk reward, even if it's just halfway as well. You're looking at pretty decent risk reward there. Of course, depends on the entry, but 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s should be getting that at least the halfway. Could be looking at double that if we do get the swing all the way to the low. So the squeeze is worth the juice there for pound USD. It's just whether we form that high or not. At the moment, things are looking pretty bullish. So I wonder if we're just going to break to the upside here. We'll have to wait and see. But I am looking to short there for pound. And we have broken through a really big counter trend line there for pound USD on the daily chart. So essentially, I'm looking at this trend here continuing with these lower highs and trying to see some more downside. So yeah, very, very bearish from pound. What's up, Roadway? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Excuse me. Taking a look at US 30 and NASDAQ. Yes, I've had a look. I'll go through the yen pairs and then I'll go through some of the indices again. But I did have a look at some of them. But after I go for the yen pairs, we'll take another look. So I did euro yen. Let me go do dollar yen. So dollar yen actually do like. There's actually a yen pair which I'm looking to buy and it's coming into my area of interest for some long. So I'm really interested in buying this one. Of course, at the moment, USD is looking pretty weak. Yen's looking pretty strong. So we're seeing a lot of momentum right now. But coming into an area where we could potentially bounce and see another higher low fall. And again, in terms of like strength and weakness of currency pairs, I don't look into that too much because, of course, right now, dollar's very weak and yen's very strong. But, this time tomorrow, we could be seeing dollar's very strong and yen's very weak. So things can change very, very quickly. I just look at the price action and market structure. And if we're in an area where we could buy, I'm looking for entries for buys. And if we're in an area where we could sell, I'm looking for entries where we could sell. Strength and weakness comes and goes very, very quickly. But yeah, at the moment, we're coming to a really healthy area for a buy into that 0.5 of the fib. And of course, we're coming into this brief area of consolidation. See that on the daily chart. We stopped for a little bit and a really strong move to the upside. Now, this is our first test of that same area. So if we can see some evidence of a higher low forming, that would be great and look to trade it back to the high. And then if things go very well, hopefully back to this high here on the weekly chart, more or less around 162. So in my book, dollar yen is still looking very bullish. We're still printing higher highs and higher lows. So as long as we keep up this price action, looking for the next one, we have a pretty good chance of making our way back to 162. And that's really the idea behind the trade. So if I can find some entries in that area, that'd be fantastic. Of course, nothing as of quite yet. Still looking very, very bearish here. But if again I start to see some equal lows forming, some wicks, strong bullish both, a strong bullish engulfing candle. There we go. I'll be looking for some entries, and at least I'll be targeting this high here. I may, depending on things, I may close the trade early, but if things look good, the plan is to try and swing it all the way to the high there. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at for dollar yen. And this is actually a yen pair, which I'm looking to get involved with if I do see some entry. Other yen pairs don't look great. I know we're seeing some momentum and maybe they could look better this week, but I haven't really been interested. I mean, Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, these guys are still very much in their consolidation. Lovely momentum there. Everything's looking great, but we still had really nice momentum over here as well. We had some really strong bullish momentum over there, and all those moves didn't amount to anything really. So the key thing I'm looking for Aussie yen is breakouts. You know, is price to break through the lows or break through the highs, and then we can start to look for some opportunities following that. Okay, take care. We'll have a good one, my man. We'll see you tomorrow. Gio would go for a swing buy long term as broken downward trend line on the daily. Yeah, potentially could be looking to swing to the upside. I'll wait for price to break structure first before I look for a longer term swing on the daily. But if price does not hold 1.25, I will have to back away from the sells. But if you do reject that area, I will be looking to get some shorts. What's up, Lauder? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a good weekend. Dollar weakness or is just a pullback? That's always the question, isn't it, Lauder? Is it a pullback or is it a reversal? I'll go take a look at the dollar in a second and go through it. Let me just finish off the yen pairs. So yeah, Aussie yen rejecting the high of the range pretty well, and now we're selling off pretty hard. So it looks like we're coming back to the low end of the range. But are we just going to bounce there again and push back up? Could do. As I always say, not really interested in the price action inside a range. I'm waiting for price to break out of that. Then once we do, we can start to look for some opportunities and start to trade some momentum, because after a breakout, we should see, you know, healthy momentum breaking out. That's the whole point. We consolidate and then release all that kind of momentum in one direction. And then it's our job to try and find some opportunities to ride that. And that could be looking like a break and retest, or maybe even shorting the breakout. It's not really my type of trade, but if you could find something like this, that would be great. Same thing to the upside as well. If you can clear the highs, that is where I want to find my entries and anticipate further upside. But inside of here, not really interested. I know we're looking very bearish at the moment, but we're just coming back into support, so it doesn't really do much for me for Aussie yen. New Zealand yen, pretty much the same situation as well. As we can see, equal highs over here. We can pretty much see the equal lows over here as well. And the market's kind of just fluctuating back and forth between those two areas. So again, waiting for price to commit to one direction. Whether it is going to be the break of the high or the break of low, I have no idea. But either which way, did not mean to do that. Either which way, you're looking at good opportunities. You know, consolidation, break and retest are normally quite good ones if you wait for a good breakout. If you're looking for kind of very soft breakouts like this, then you're going to have a hard time. But if you wait for solid breaks, I mean, I'll probably say it's about 50-50 chance whether you get the pullback or not. A lot of the time, price will consolidate and then break out and just keep going. But I would say half the time you do actually get a decent pullback to short it. So yeah, that's kind of really what I'm looking at for both of those yen pairs. Again, very, very similar yen pairs. Aussie and New Zealand yen, very, very similar. You can see the price action is very similar as well. So until we get a decent breakout, not going to really do too much. And then after we get the breakout, I'll start mapping out some highs and targets as well. In terms of CHF JPY, this one is looking pretty bearish this morning, as they all are, with the JPY strength, and we are pushing down, but again, still very corrective. I was looking to short this one last week, but didn't really set up how I wanted. We are seeing some downside, but again, price action isn't looking very clean. In fairness to CHF JPY, we formed the equal highs here, and we've been pretty consistent with the lower highs. This may be another one forming. Of course, we do need to take out this low to get that confirmation that this is a lower high. But it looks like we're trying to do that. We're on our way. Again, I need momentum to pick up, and I need the price to start taking out some lows as well. Otherwise, you might form another higher low and just push up again. Because we are forming lower highs here, but also forming higher lows as well. So essentially, the market is kind of squeezing like that. And eventually, we're going to either commit to the downside or to the upside. So I'm kind of waiting for a little bit more momentum price to break through some lows or some highs first before I do find any trades. Again, long term, I am looking for a really big move to the downside for CHF-JPY, where all-time high is currently from a high back over here. So I do expect us to eventually have a bit of a pullback, but of course I don't want to jump the gun because it'll still be a while off before we do see that move. But for now, still seeing low lows and low highs, so would still be bearish, but just price action isn't looking very, very clean, which is why I've stayed away. And in terms of CAD yen, I don't think I've missed out another yen pair. CAD yen, in fairness, is not looking too bad. It was respecting that resistance there. It was kind of doing it half-heartedly. We had a nice reaction, I believe, on Monday last week, which was a nice reaction, but price came straight back above. It wasn't looking too good, but of course, with momentum this morning, price looks like it's clearing out these lows pretty well. So if CAD yen can keep that up, I may start to look for a retest of these lows here. And again, trying to continue those lower highs. Really nice consolidation, but now looks like we might be putting some healthy bearish structure. So again, if we can get a decent break of the low, that could interest me for some more shorts and could see CAD yen really start to bleed. But in terms of the bigger move for CAD yen, I'm still very bearish on this one. Again, still looking at the continuation of this massive bearish move here from July. This to me still looks like the correction of it. Again, it would be nice for price to push back to the high first and then find entries up there. It's just a much better place for a stop loss, much better place for an entry. And it's an area where you can look to hold a trade for the long run if you want to, of course. And then, of course, expecting us to push back to the lows there. So very, very bearish with CAD yen, but have to stay patient. Nothing there quite yet, but something like this would interest me. So, yeah, we'll wait for that for CAD yen, but not really big fan of the yen pairs apart from dollar yen. Okay, so I will take a look at a couple of the indices as well. I will go through the dollar, take a look at the DXY for Lauder. What's up, Morgan? Hope you're well. The DAX, yes, we'll take a look. Looking for a short. Okay. Yeah, the DAX has been flying, so it probably is due a bit of a pullback. Good morning, Anthony. Hope you're well. Looking for a buy on NAS this week. Yeah, heavy move down. We're about to take a look at the indices. Heavy move to the downside this week. It probably is due a bit of a bounce. Wow. Is that the NASDAQ? Is that the one I was looking at? It is the NASDAQ. Wow. Literally, I was looking at this one like 15 minutes ago or something like that. And price was literally like here or something. Because it wasn't quite the low yet. Maybe like there. So it's basically like 15 minutes just had a massive drop. Okay, maybe half an hour. Probably looking around here. But yeah, that's a pretty big move. But yeah, the NASDAQ is in a nice area for a bounce. Basically, when I was talking about the NASDAQ literally 20 minutes ago, I was saying it's up to where, okay, the candle's just closed. Wow, big candle. I was just saying where the market does find support is going to be very important, whether it does break through the low here or respects it, because either which way, NASDAQ is still a very bullish market. And although we're looking very, very bearish right now, it's just a pullback for price to get back to the highs. I've zoomed out, looked at the bigger picture for the NAS and highlighted these big swing points here. And it could be a situation where NAS does want to have a slightly bigger pullback like we had kind of over here, like we had over here. We might be seeing one of those bigger pullbacks for NAS because it's either we get the shorter pullbacks like we did in this kind of area, or we get the longer one. And maybe this could be the start of potentially a longer one. And if that is the case, then this is kind of the area where I would expect price to push back up again. But at the moment, we are respecting support. I mean, we just about tested it. So if we can hold on to this, it could form a really big range, and this could be a really nice place to buy the NAS and take it back to the high, because in that situation, NAS is just consolidating and you're pretty much just looking to call the bottom of the range. And if it does continue back to the high or higher highs, you can look to hold into that trade from the low. If price does break this low here, so let's say the next 4-hour candle is bearish and we go and take out that low too, then yeah, I would expect that bigger pullback for NAS into that higher time frame channel. And maybe from there we do push to the upside. So yeah, that low would indicate to me more downside if it does get broken. But for now, we are respecting it. So I would say keep an eye on this support level. If you do start to form some wicks, maybe some nice bullish engulfing candles, evidence that says that, okay, this momentum has failed to break the low and they're about to turn, is what you'll be looking for the buys, because that's a really big candle and there's a lot of bearish momentum right now for NAS. So I want to see kind of equally strong rejection that tells me that this support is holding and that we can turn around. Otherwise, I think buying here could be a little bit tricky just because of how bearish things look. But if you start to see some evidence of wicks forming, strong bullish candles closing, then yeah, that could be a nice little buy to take back up and potentially back to the highs. And as I said, if you do break through, then I'll expect a bit more downside there for NAS. But yeah, indices have had a really big push to the downside. US 30, I actually still like the buys for this one. I actually still really like the buys. This one hasn't been near as bearish as NAS or S&P. And in fact, we do have some nice swing areas for some buys here for US 30. Really strong resistance here at 43,200. If I map out the fib from the low to the high, you can see it lines up well with the 50. And I'm still expecting US 30 to get back to the all-time highs there. So if US 30 does see a bit more downside, that would be much appreciated. Come back and test some of these areas, and then we can swing it back to the high. I think that looks like a really healthy swing trade. I was expecting price just to kind of continue the momentum and just keep pushing because we've been so bullish on the lower time frames. But with this bearish move, we've broken through that range there. So that might be an indication that, okay, the lower time frames might want to see a bit of a move to the downside as well. But yeah, in terms of direction for US 30, everything is still looking really bullish for this one as well. I think naturally the market is in an area where we can continue higher anyway. And I would expect new all-time highs pretty soon as well for US 30, just like we did with S&P, which created new all-time highs. Then it had its pullback, which makes sense. You know, we create highs and then we have our dip. NAS and US 30 didn't do that yet. So I still think US 30 is on that trajectory, just taking its time a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the indices. Still very, very bullish, but we might be having a deeper correction first before we do continue. Let me go through the indices. Let me go through the DXY for Lauder and take a look at the DAX for Morgan as well. So DXY, is it a pullback or is it a reversal? Yeah, that's always the question when you do see price move opposite to the trend. You're always thinking, is this a pullback or is this a reversal? Again, in terms of kind of textbook stuff, for it to be a reversal, technically we need price to break the low here. You know, this is the low that sent us to the upside to create the higher high. So technically speaking, need price to break through the low for that indication to be a reversal. At the moment, we're coming to a bullish area where I am looking for a bounce. You know, this is where we had a brief consolidation and price broke to the upside of a lot of momentum. And this is our first time coming back to retest that zone. So I do like this area for a buy. If we can reject this area, form some equal lows, see some wicks, hopefully a nice big strong bullish engulfing candle. I'll be looking for the same on euro and pound. This could be a really nice area to take price back to the upside again. And if it is a pullback, we could be looking at a really big move back to 110. At the moment, there is no sign of that. Things still look very bearish. And from an intraday point of view, if you're like on the 50-minute chart, you're kind of just looking to actively sell the dollar right now or buy euro or buy pound, because that's what momentum is doing. And that's what the lower structures are doing as well. Lower time frame market structure is doing. But if you're looking for a swing, this is kind of the place where I'll be looking for buys now. If I whip out the fib from the low to the high, looks like we just come into the 0.618 as well. So it's a healthy area for price to bounce from. We just need to wait for evidence of price doing that, which at the moment in time, we don't really have that. So to answer your question, Lauder, I have no idea. The only way we know that question is when it's actually done its thing, whether it's broken structure or we did turn around. All I can say is that this is the area where I would anticipate some buys, and there's a good chance of a higher low forming. Now I just need to wait for price action to line up with that bias as well. So that's really what I'm waiting for the DXY. But at the moment, I'm still anticipating a bounce. So yeah, still looking for some upside. In terms of the DAX, we've been looking very, very bullish, I believe. Oh, okay, we've seen a bit of a dip there. So it looks like it's not just the US indices as well. We've seen a bit of a dip on the DAX too. Again, I think everything looks bullish in terms of the bigger picture here. So I still like the buys down at 2,500, which is this area here, pretty much identical to the break retest we had over here at 19,700. Really big breakout of that resistance, really big pullback as well. Had the retest and price flew. Really big breakout. Might see a big dip as well. See the retest and maybe another continuation. So the DAX looks really good for the longs down here, but of course we're a long, long way away from that. We're trading over here and we need to be down there. So that's still like a over a week's price action away from getting the buy. So in terms of the longs, we can kind of put them to one side for the moment. If you're looking to short and anticipate that pullback happening, it does make sense, but of course you are going against the momentum of the larger time frame. So I would keep the shorts intraday. So let's say if we were to have a bit of a pullback here for the DAX, maybe test this area here, I think that could be a really nice sell back to the low. And from that, I'd call it a day, because the longer I do hold a sell position in this kind of climate, the more exposed I am, and the more exposed I am, and the more likely I'm going to get caught on the wrong side, because at any point we could see the DAX continue. This is a bullish market in general. So the longer you're holding onto the sell, the more likely price is eventually going to turn back against you and get rid of your profits. So if you do get a short, from this area, I think that's a really nice place for it. Seeing some decent momentum there as well. So I would suggest that shorts do look good from an intraday point of view. But let's say if we do get the short and price comes to the low, I would say at least look to secure some profit, or move your stop loss to break even. If you're looking for a bigger move back down to these areas, it makes sense to, but you never know how price is going to do that. It might double top it and then come back down. So that will take you out your trade first. But yeah, there's a lot of momentum here. Of course, indices are looking pretty bearish at the moment, so maybe that's a nice confluence, I suppose. But yeah, because the market's still very bullish, I want to be in and out. But yeah, in terms of the big move for DAX, I like the buys here, just like we did last time at 19,700. Really nice break and retest. I would suggest there's a good chance of us doing that again around 2,500. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed to the channel so far. It does really help out. And of course, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the week or in general. I do upload in the weekend as well. No problem. Happy to help. Atch, what's up? Hope you're well. Support for NAS current fall. Okay. I'll go do that in a second. LFTJ, looking forward to buy Bitcoin at 90 retest. Take a look at the $CHF. Okay, I'll have a look. I'll have a look at Bitcoin as well. So yeah, in terms of the NAS support, I would say it's at support at the moment, which is this current level here at well, maybe not quite support just yet. But that low there, 2,500, which is the low that gave us this move to the upside, we're more or less coming into that area. So in terms of areas of support and resistance, that is the most obvious and most immediate level I would be looking at for the NAS for price to turn around at. Again, support and resistance is great, but you don't want to use support and resistance just by itself. You want to be looking at candlesticks, market structure. So this is, of course, an area of support. Why? Because it's a clear area that buyers stepped into the market to push price higher. Whether it holds or not, we need to see how price reacts when we get there. You do start to see some more wicks. Is price showing momentum from this area, bullish momentum from this area? Then okay, we can say that okay, there's a chance that this support level is going to hold, and we can look to find some positions there, some entries. But of course, if we come into this level and then just break straight through, and there's no indication of price turning around, then of course we're moving to our next area, or potentially looking for some pullbacks to keep shorting. But yeah, that would be an area which we could bounce from. Just need to see what we do when we get there, really. Okay, so I'll go through Bitcoin. We'll take a look at dollar CHF as well. You said you're looking for a retest of 90K. Where is 90? Okay, so you're looking for price to come back down into this area here. So it looks like at this moment in time, that's where price is going to move to be honest. Yeah, that looks like where price is going to move to, because this is the range for me. You got the equal highs over there, equal lows here, where price has tested numerous times, and it looks like price is just bouncing between the two levels. So essentially, this momentum, the next level of support would be that 91, 90K area. And that's kind of where I'm expecting price to get to as well. Of course, with Bitcoin, everything is still relatively quite bullish. Again, if I expand to the weekly chart, this is still a market which is trending higher. I'm looking at this as an impulse consolidation, another impulse, potentially another consolidation for potentially another impulse as well. Whether we do break up or have a big retest first, then make a move. Excuse me. It's going to be up to the Bitcoin to decide whether it wants to do that or not. But in terms of a solid place for a buy, I would suggest that that level of support does look good. Whether it will give us the big move and big continuation, that's of course hard to tell. But I would say it's a nice area for price to at least have some type of bounce. So yeah, it does look like that's where Bitcoin is headed to next. Of course, it has failed very spectacularly at the high there. So next area of support is down at that low, and we'll see what Bitcoin has in store for us at that area. We're going to take a look at some other crypto as well. Let me just go through dollar CHF. So yeah, dollar CHF. Oh, my word, it's looking very bearish. Is CHF very strong? Let me have a look at some CHF pairs quickly. Okay, pound CHF is selling off, so maybe CHF is strong. Yeah. Also, oh, yeah, it looks like CHF is definitely strong. I was thinking, yeah, CHF is definitely strong. Because I was thinking dollar is not that weak that it does. That CHF should be selling off like that, but yeah, it looks like CHF is very, very weak as well. Very, very weak. But to be honest, it has come from a really big level on the weekly chart. So kind of makes sense for dollar CHF. You can see massive area resistance, rejection once over there, twice over there. Looks like we're coming to that area a third time. And again, another rejection. We do have the equal lows down there as well, which looks like price has bounced that very well too. And who knows, maybe you could be seeing a massive swing back to that low there too. So dollar CHF is looking pretty bearish. Let me know what you're looking to do with dollar CHF, LF. TJ, I'm looking for probably more downside at this point in time. What's up, Habinator? Hope you're well. Happy New Year to you. I've not seen you since New Year's. Happy New Year. Hope you're doing good. How's Jan been going for you? It's been okay. Had some couple small wins / break evens, couple losses as well. It's been a bit of a slow start, but I'm looking for momentum on the USD pairs, which haven't really kicked in yet. And JPY pairs have been very, very flat. So the conditions haven't been optimal. So I'm waiting for momentum to step back in, and hopefully we can see this kind of first quarter, because the yen pairs kind of had a lot of my focus, but now they're quite choppy, although dollar yen is looking very good. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that. The rest of the yen pairs have been very, very flat. So yeah, I haven't traded the yen pairs yet. So hopefully they can step up. I know yen strength is coming into the market now and we're seeing some momentum, but let's see if that can continue. But yeah, CHF is looking very strong. Dollar's, of course, looking a bit weak as well, which is causing this reaction. So I would say if you're on the lower time frames, dollar CHF does look pretty good. Excuse me, my voice is a bit, my throat is a bit dry. But yeah, some pullbacks look good, and I would suggest some retest of 0.903 looks pretty good for some sales as well. As to how far we could go, I think I'll just play it safe with this one. I wouldn't necessarily look for anything crazy. Of course, we could see a push all the way to 0.84, but I don't think you'd probably be looking at such a big move like that. I probably would keep an eye on this high here, which is 0.895. That would be an area where price could definitely bounce from. So let's say if we were to have a pullback before that, that could be a really nice target, or just at least an area to kind of monitor, because that was pretty strong resistance not long ago. Could act as support again. But yeah, very, very bearish right now for dollar CHF, and I would suggest we could see a lot more of the same. But yeah, CHF is looking pretty weak. Let me go through some CHF pairs, because I'm actually looking to sell New Zealand CHF, but it hasn't really set up well. It's just been very corrective. We had a bit of a consolidation. Price did break the high last week, and it looks like we're coming back in very aggressively. So I wonder, is this the high forming for the push back down? I may look for some entries on the retest of that level there if it does pull back for a retest, because it looks like we created some resistance here. Price has probably faked that high, which would have stopped a lot of people out. Now potentially looking for a price to test that high again. That could be a really nice place for a short and take us back into the lows. But generally speaking, for New Zealand CHF, everything is still looking pretty bearish. We're still seeing lower lows and lower highs. So as long as we keep up that market structure, the direction is pretty clear to me, which is a move back down to the low, which is 0.849. And that's just not any low. It's the all-time low, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is. So, yeah, we are very bearish here for New Zealand CHF, consistently seeing lower highs in the market, failing to break structure to the upside. And overall, because this leg has been so corrective, I think there's just naturally a really high chance that we are going to sell off to the downside here and push it back to the lows. So as long as we keep up that structure, I'll be looking for some shorts, because it's been difficult to try and catch the high. Probably going to look for a retest of this level here. If we have a bit of a correction to get into some shorts. Aussie CHF is another one I've been looking to sell, but it's just been rebounding on some level of support as well. So I've stayed away. But if price can break through this level of support here at 0.562, I will be looking at some entries to try and take it back down into that low there at 0.53669. And again, similar to New Zealand CHF, continue that momentum back down to these lows and the all-time lows, which is just below us over here as well. So the main thing I want to see for Aussie CHF is a break of this support level at 0.56200, and that will probably be the catalyst to get us really rolling back to the lows there. At 0.53. So yeah, very bearish on these CHF pairs. Pound CHF, another one I've been bearish on. I did catch some sells earlier on. I was late December there, but eventually took me out as price came back to retest my entry. So again, I'm still looking at that breakout, but I think I'm just going to wait for the break of consolidation. I could look to see if price gets back to the high again and try and look to anticipate some shorts from there, but it doesn't look really good to me, pound CHF. I think I'll just wait for the consolidation to break. It's been a very long consolidation. We've been consolidating since October, really. So it's been going on for a while, which is not the worst thing in the world. Yes, because the price action is very slow, but sometimes the breakouts could be very good if you catch them well, and they could go pretty far. So it actually might be worth it. Of course, you need to catch the breakout though. But yeah, something like that is what I'm looking for. And again, if everything goes to plan, I do expect us to come back into this low here on the left. If I go to the daily chart, I'm looking at this high, then this lower high, then this looks like the next lower high in that sequence. And if that's the case, it should take us back to the low and maybe further as well. So if you do catch that move, it could definitely be worthwhile. and hopefully we can see a move back to 1.0755. But as of right now, we're still in the consolidation. So yeah, who knows, might bounce at that area again. In terms of CAD Chef, again, CAD Chef don't really have a setup for this one. I don't think it's not on the watch list. I can tell you that for free. But yeah, CAD Chef, really strong drop this morning. I think CAD's a little bit weak as well. And of course, with Chef strength, we are seeing some follow through here. But again, CAD Chef, very, very firmly in that consolidation. So again, not really interested. I was hoping to see CAD Chef actually break the high, because I'm looking at this bearish channel here for CAD Chef, and it would be nice to see price kind of make that move to the upside to form another lower high, and then look for the big sell, just like what we did over here. Big move down, another one, looking for the fourth, and that could be a really nice sell from a swing point of view. But yeah, CAD Chef just been in that range, so similar to Pound Chef. Yeah, no real opportunities has really cemented itself there with me. So pretty much staying patient with that one. But yeah, CHF pairs, they're very choppy. So again, they're not pairs that I do trade a lot of the time. They sometimes do give good opportunities, but a lot of the time they are quite corrective. So I try to stay away. But when they do give some nice momentum, I make sure I'm there to try and take some positions. But anyway, let me go through some of the crosses and some of the CAD pairs. Haven't gone through any of them yet. So in terms of, let's start with pound CAD. So pound CAD was pretty bullish towards the end of last week, and looking pretty bullish now as well, still pushing pretty hard. So with pound CAD, it is a pair which I am looking for price to turn around soon. We've had a few signs that this bullish trend is coming to potentially an end, or at least we'll go through a bigger pullback at some point. The reasons are we've got these equal highs here. Price come back into resistance a few times, once, twice, a third time, and a fourth time, and respect to the high on each time. A healthy market would break highs and continue not respect them. So the fact that we did respect them on multiple occasions is a sign that, okay, pound CAD is losing its strength. And then we had a really aggressive push here and then another one there as well. I mean, we did respect the low. So if price could break through the low, then that will be really the icing on the cake, really. But we did respect the low. So it's a sign that, okay, the buyers are still alive and kicking. But as we do approach resistance again, there's still a good chance that we do respect this high and have another sell. So I would suggest, if you're looking to get involved with pound CAD, sells around the 1.81 mark make a load of sense, and we could see a nice reaction there. I'm not so interested with pound CAD. That's not really an opportunity I would look for. I'd wait for price to actually start to break structure first and then look for shorts. Yes, there are signs that the market's going to turn, but in terms of the patterns and the situations I look to trade, I want to see structure in my favor. So it's not a short that I would take, but if you're looking for some mean reversion, it's not a bad level to short from. If you're going to continue what we've been doing in the past, there's a good chance we're going to reject. But yeah, on the lower time frames, things are looking pretty bearish, and it looks like we probably are going to go test 1.81. In terms of Euro CAD, this one as well looking pretty bullish. Of course, pound CAD, Euro CAD, they do tend to do the same thing, really. Yes, Omar, we'll take a look at dollar yen for you. Just let me get through Euro CAD here. So yeah, Euro CAD looking pretty bullish. Again, we do have resistance back at the highs here, which is 1.51. And in my book, it looks like Euro CAD is on a one-way ticket to that level. Again, that could be a really nice place to short from. Multiple times prices rejected this area. Once, second time, a third time there as well, fourth time there too. So this is a very sturdy level of resistance, and there's a good chance price does come here for a reaction. Maybe not necessarily for a swing all the way like that, but maybe a couple days, see some downside, that could be worthwhile. So yeah, EuroCAD, I would fancy some more upside. We've had a rejection of this area here, didn't really amount to much anyway. So, and looks like we're breaking through it anyway as well. So yeah, EuroCAD likely going to see a bit more upside. Pound CAD likely going to see a bit more upside, and both could provide some nice sells in the next coming days. So if you are looking to sell them, Oh, just hit the mic there. I would stay patient, and hopefully some sales could present themselves later in the week. In terms of dollar yen, Omar. So yeah, dollar yen is the yen pair which I actually do like. I think this one looks really good. We do have some healthy bullish structure in the daily chart. So of course you got the low there, you got the high, higher low, higher high. So again, the plan is to try and find the next higher low for another buy back to the high over there. So very, very simple stuff here with dollar yen. And I'm just looking to try and find the next high low in that sequence. We've got some nice confluence here. You got the fib from the low to the high. You got the 0.5 there. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see we've also got this brief pause in the market here, which we flew to the upside when we finally got the breakout. So a lot of momentum came from that area. So I do suggest there's a good chance we'll see some more buyers step back into the market and see another reaction. So I'm very, very bullish on dollar yen as long as we maintain that daily bullish structure. And I'm just looking for areas where we could see some buying opportunities. And we are in one right now. At the moment, of course, we're looking very bearish. It's a very strong bearish candle that just closed at 10, and things are still looking pretty bearish right now. But if we do start to see some wicks form, some bullish engulfing candles form, this could be a really nice place for a buy. It just needs some confirmation. So yeah, very bullish on dollar yen. I know USD is pretty weak and yen's pretty strong, so it can be a little bit scary. Seeing candlesticks like that, you're kind of like, oh, should I be looking to buy here? A lot of the time you see price give really aggressive reactions or really aggressive candlesticks and then turn around very quickly. And if you think about the psychology behind that, a lot of people we looking at candlesticks like that and be scared to buy, and kind of rightly so. It's kind of like catching a falling knife. But as long as you've tested your strategy well and you know what you're doing, you don't want to be put off too much by candlesticks because they can change very quickly as well. But yeah, looking for buys there for dollar yen. In terms of Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD, I'm still interested in some shorts on New Zealand CAD. This one is an area where a low high could form. I'm actually looking for opportunities in this area. It's on the watch list. So if I can get some opportunities, I'll be looking to trade it back into the low. And a little bit further as well, if I go to the daily chart, we have broken out of this ascending channel here. So since we did get that break of that channel, I am looking for a push back to the low, which is just a little bit further down. And I was actually quite surprised that we didn't actually go and test the level when we did have the initial break. So now that New Zealand CAD has had a bit of move to the upside, now this is giving me an opportunity to get into some shorts and hopefully ride it back down into that same low. So yeah, as long as we can remain below that channel, I will stay bearish. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see we've been pretty consistent with these lower highs. One over there, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and again, another lower low. So the plan is to try and find the next lower high. If I map out the trend line here, then again, looking for a lower high in this kind of area here for a short back into the low. And that's why I'm looking to find my entries. There's a nice consolidation here where we just had a really strong drop, a lot of momentum. This is the area price is coming back into now. So it's an overall healthy area for a retest. And if I whip out the fib, you can see we're coming to the 0.618 there too. So it's a healthy area. Back into this trend line, connecting the highs, back into that area of supply, testing a healthy area of a fib. And also we are very corrective in the way we've had the pullback as well. It's not like price is kind of just shot to the upside very aggressively. It's been very corrective, which again is a characteristic of a market which is about to have a pullback and a continuation soon. So in terms of the boxes, New Zealand CAD has ticked them very, very well for me. So now it's just kind of waiting for the entries to get the green light to jump into a trade, set a stop loss and set some targets, which isn't quite there yet. But all I know is that New Zealand CAD is in my area, so I need to actively monitor this one. Could get set up at any point. Just hopefully it's not whilst I'm sleeping. And if I'm awake, I'll be there to take the trade. But yeah, New Zealand CAD is a market I'm looking at. Aussie CAD I was trading last week, but it did break through the channel. So although Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD do tend to do the same thing in terms of price action, they can differ a little bit. So with Aussie CAD, you can see we had this descending channel. Prices trading above it right now. So again, with Aussie CAD, I still do expect to see a big move down. If we go to the daily chart, pretty much for the same reason why I expect to see New Zealand CAD to make a move to the downside. This ascending channel, again, met its end. So I still expect price to eventually get that bigger sell to the low. But since it's breaking out the channel, I'm losing confidence, so I'm not looking for any more entries with it until it does tidy up. But at the moment, New Zealand CAD looks a lot better. It ticks my boxes quite a lot, so there's no point in me trying to focus on Aussie CAD as well. And I know it's a very similar pair, and New Zealand CAD looks a lot better. Euro Aussie, okay, we'll have a look at that one, no problem. Let me know if there's a specific time frame you're looking at. But yeah, Euro Aussie, ooh, okay, looking pretty bullish this morning. I haven't really gone through the crosses, so I don't really have any of the crosses on my what. Actually, no, I do have pound NZD and pound Aussie, but they were looking very bullish this morning and last week, so they've kind of pulled away from my zones. So you need to see them kind of sell off a little bit, which we'll get to in a moment. But Euro Aussie is looking pretty bullish right now. Again, not my favorite market in the world. Let me know what you're looking to do with Euro Aussie. What's your bias? All I can see for Euro Aussie is a very flat market. Equal highs over there, equal lows back here. There is a somewhat of resistance there, which we did respect not a while ago. But in terms of a clear-cut opportunity, I'm not really seeing much here for Euro Aussie. Again, I'm looking for momentum. I'm looking for trends. Not really seeing one here at all. So unless we start trending well, it's not a market which I'll be looking to get involved with. But I did say last week, if you're looking for some areas to short from, I think there's two clear-cut levels in the market, which do make sense. One slightly more than the other. This area here, really sturdy resistance, could prove to be sturdy resistance again. And this one, which is a slightly more clear-cut one, right back at the high, waiting for price to get there, and again looking for some sells. Because again, when you do have a market which is as flat as this, which is as choppy as this, you do want to make sure your entries are up high and your entries are low as possible, high as possible, low as possible. If you're looking for buying opportunities, you want to be as close to the low of the range or support level as possible, or the channel as possible. Same thing when you're shorting, when you be as close to that as possible, because number one, it will maximize your risk reward, and number two, you will get much safer stop losses, and you can probably have some tighter stop losses as well. If you're taking entries in the middle, that's where you can get the most fluctuation, the most noise. Your stop loss is going to be at risk. You're probably going to get stopped out a lot more times, and it's just not really effective to be looking for entries in that area. So, yeah, if you're looking for shorts for Euro Aussie, I would wait for price to push back to the high entries in there, maybe a big double top forms, and you can look for a sell. If not, look for a push back to the high. But yeah, price action has been very, very messy. So, yeah, not a big fan at all. In terms of pound Aussie and pound NZD, so these were the crosses that I'm looking at still. Unfortunately, they were pretty bullish not yesterday, on Friday, and then it looks like the momentum has continued today. So I was looking for price to pull back a little bit steeper. I was looking for a push back into this high here. As you can see, we've been so consistent with these high lows for pound NZD. One over there, second, third, fourth, fifth. Maybe that is number 6 printed there. I was looking for us to come a little bit lower, test that level, because we did break through some resistance on our left, support story on our left. So I wanted price to come a little bit deeper to test that next major level. But unfortunately, looks like we might be pushing on from this area. I mean, it might just be a pullback, so I'm not going to read too much into it in case something like this happens. But I am looking for buys, and same thing with pound Aussie as well. Looking for a big push to the upside for that one. Again, you can see the higher lows here. One over there, second, third, fourth. Looking for number 5. And hopefully a retest of that area there too. But you can see we just kind of missed it as we came back down there. So Again, with pound Aussie looking this bullish, I wonder, has the high low been printed, or are we just pulling back here for one more push to the downside? Either which way, that is still a level which I'm looking to buy from. But because we've had this strong bullish reaction, it does mean I have to stay a bit more patient and wait to see if price does come back down again. But in terms of direction, we do have a really clear-cut trend in. Again, this is a big difference between pound Aussie and euro Aussie. Pound Aussie at least has somewhat of a trend. Again, it's not the cleanest trend in the world. It doesn't have to be necessarily either. Of course, if it is, great. If you've got a clean trend with really healthy momentum, those are the best conditions. But at least with this one, we do have some bullish structure, which gives us some type of indication of what the market's likely to do next. If we do create a higher high, there's a pretty good chance we do put another higher low in. And if we do put a higher low in, there's a good chance we do create a higher high, or at least come back and test the high. So you can use that to your advantage in terms of finding trades and holding on to trades. But when the market is flat, the only areas that do really make sense to get involved in the market is right at the high or right at the low, because you know that's where the price is likely to turn around. Whereas in the middle, yeah, anything can happen there really. So that's why I like pound Aussie a lot more than euro Aussie, because this one at least has some type of trend and consistency to it. So yeah, again, looking for another high low, and hopefully we can push back down again. And whilst we're on the topic, I'll take a look at Euro NZD, which is just another choppy pair to me as well. We got the equal highs over here. We got the equal lows back down over here as well. And the market has just been back and forth between these two areas. Not really interested in trading this one. Again, if you're looking to short, this is the time and place for it. I suggest maybe a big double top though, because we are very, very flat here. So if price was to potentially push back to the high, I think that would be a nice place for a short. And again, looking for some type of rejection and a big sell. So overall, Euro NZD, I do think we can see a big sell-off if price is going to respect the high. Of course, if we break out, we'll discuss that as well. That could be a really nice buy on the cards should we break to the upside, but not quite convinced just yet. I need price to really see maybe a strong weekly candle close above the high, and that will maybe give me the convincing to say that, okay, this is a fake, this is a breakout and not a fake out. But for now, still testing the high of the range there, so looking for a sell. And again, this could go a long way away, a long way to the low, which is one of the benefits of trading big ranges as well. If it does play out, you could be looking at a really big swing, and the risk reward is definitely worth it. And you can keep your risk kind of minimal, because you know you don't want to see price breakout, so your stop loss is above the high. And if you do get faked out as well, let's say you do get faked out, you can always look for a re-entry and still take advantage of the move. And because the risk reward is going to be very positive, you make back your loss plus some more as well. So it makes sense too. But yeah, for those pairs, very, very choppy stuff. So kind of not really interested, but pound NZD and pound Aussie do look good. In terms of euro pound, so this one I have been looking for some sells, but unfortunately, looks like it's just missed my area, just like what pound NZD and pound Aussie did. Really nice level of support, which of course is time resistance. We tested it once, twice, three, four, eventually broke through. Haven't really respected it much since, but we can all see that that's a very strong level of support. So if we were to get back there again, especially put in some wicks like we were doing here, that'd be a really nice indication that, okay, we're probably going to turn around and see a lot more downside. So I was looking for a bit more upside there for euro pound. Unfortunately, didn't quite happen. But if we are going to push the downside, I wouldn't mind that as well, because I'm also still looking for buys for euro pound. Really strong level of resistance here, as you can see, 0.832. Price respects that resistance on a few occasions, 1, 2, 3 times. Really solid break to the upside. Just we haven't yet come back to retest it. So if price does push back down there, I will be looking for some buys to take it back into that same zone. If I do expand to the weekly chart, you can actually, it's a monthly chart. You can see overall we are in a very strong level of support. And if price can hold on to this level of support well, I do think we can see a lot more upside here for euro pound. So I do like the buys a lot because I know I'm in an area of high time frame support. And should price hold this, we could be seeing a really big move. And someone who's looking to trail stops as well. That is an indication that, okay, we could be really letting this fly. So with euro pound, I like the buys from here, 0.32, and it could take us to the moon. But of course, because euro pound is such a choppy pair, um, even if you do trail stops well, you do get those kind of big pullbacks like this move here, which is probably just going to take you out at some point. So I would look to take some profits at the high there as well. But yeah, with euro pound, I'm looking at both buys and sells. But I just have to wait for price to get to one of those areas. In terms of Aussie New Zealand dollar, um, this one I'm still looking for buys, but it's just consolidating, and it feels like it's been doing that forever. So of course you got the equal highs there, you got the equal lows back here, and essentially that's the range with a couple fake outs, that being one and that being another. But more or less we've stayed within that range for quite some time. But we do have some bullish structure, which is what I'm looking to trade. So you got the low down there, you got the high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, just about. So again, looking for another higher low, for again another higher high. If I connect the dots here with this trend line, so that's the first swing point. That's the second one, but doesn't quite line up. So connected to this area here, we do have a nice area of confluence here. So should price push back to the low end of the range, and of course test the trend line as well as this low, this looks to me like a really nice place for a buy. Nice little bottom there. See the next high low in this sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, of course, hopefully we take it right back to where we came from and maybe higher as well. If this trend does continue, we could be looking to go and tack that high there. But yeah, Aussie New Zealand dollar, this specific opportunity, I've actually talked about this since we formed this low here, which is back in December. So I've been waiting for quite a while to actually get a decent pullback here. But it's just been taking its time, and you can see the consolidation there on the 4-hour chart. Absolutely ridiculous there. And again, that's the one thing about trading Aussie New Zealand dollar, which it does take its time. It does have really long consolidation periods, and it can be a bit tricky sometimes, especially if you get caught in one of those consolidations, and it just goes on and on and on. But for now, liking the buys there, so we'll wait to see if that can definitely form, but it's taking its sweet time. But in terms of my watch list in general, what I'm looking to trade, like I said, New Zealand CAD is looking very, very good at this moment in time. Looking for some shorts for this one. So New Zealand CAD on the watch list for some shorts. Looking for some rejection of this area, 0.82 for some sales back down to 0.8. Pound USD is on the watch list as well. Looking for some sales from 1.25 back down to the low at 1.21. Should we see the continuation? So all the way back down to this low here as well. So New Zealand CAD shorts, Pound USD shorts. I'm also looking at dollar yen longs. So if we get pulled back into this area, looking for a buy, okay, starting to see some type of rejection there. That's nice. Of course, I need a lot more than that, but it's nice to see a bit of a wick. And this candle still does have 2 hours and 50 minutes before it does close. So this wick doesn't really mean much, to be honest. But if you can close like that, at least we're showing some evidence of wicks forming. If you can keep that up, see a nice strong bullish candle close, that's what will get me into a trade. But yeah, dollar yen longs is something I'm looking at as well. Gold longs, I'm actually looking at 2. If it does pull back a little bit further, okay, it looks like it might not get that. It's looking very bullish right now. To be honest, I wasn't expecting this opportunity to come into play, which is the retest of the high here. I'm looking for gold to pull back into this level and then the buy this week. At the start of the week, I was like, okay, there's a very slim chance that gold is going to give me that pullback. But after that bearish push this morning, when I woke up, I was like, okay, maybe there is a chance that gold does have that retest. But okay, it's looking pretty bullish now, so we might just kind of continue. If it does pull back there, like I said, I'm ready and waiting. Retest the high to long it back to the all-time highs. Very, very consistent with these higher lows. There's a good chance we do hold that level. So it is on the watch list, but yeah, it's looking pretty bullish now. So maybe it's a bit more unlikely to happen, but if it does happen, I'm ready to take the position. So gold longs, pound USD shorts, New Zealand CAD shorts, dollar yen longs. Both pound NZD and pound Aussie are still there as well, although they've kind of pushed away and are under if I've missed the trade. But yeah, I'll wait to see how things develop, because there's times where you think you missed the position, then following day price comes back and actually tests your level. So it's important to stay vigilant. Pound Aussie, same situation here as well. Looking for the buy at the retest of that area, but again, need a bit of a sell there before I can take the buy. So, and of course, Euro pounds on the watch list too, but it's still pretty far away from a trade for both the buys and the sells. Sells, we were close last week, but didn't quite make it happen. Looking a bit bearish now. Buys still a bit far away, but I like the buys there. And I do like the sells up there as well. And also pound CHF is on the watch list too, but that one's still in the consolidation. So I need to break out first, and then I can start talking about some shorts. I'm not really interested in the longs, to be honest. So if it does break to the upside, I'm not really interested, because we're in that area where a low high could form. So the whole idea is that this resistance is the lower high. And if we do break to the upside, that could be the lower high. And then I'll be looking for pullbacks afterwards to take price back down again. So if it does break to the upside, I'm not really interested in that. If it does break to the downside, though, very interested in that. And of course, looking to take it back to where we came from, back at 1.07554. So this one is another pair I'm looking at. But again, need the breakout to happen before I actually start looking for entries. And yeah, that's pretty much my watch list. I don't think I missed any out. Yeah, that is basically the watch list. Again, there are a couple other pairs I'm looking at, but they're not quite ready in terms of looking for me to buy or sell them yet. And again, in terms of watch list, I'm always picking the better pairs, so there might still be an opportunity on a different pair, but it might not be clean, or it might be lacking a couple of things, which makes me not really interested in trading it. So, for example, Aussie CAD, I still do have a pretty bearish bias on this one, but because we've broken out that descending channel, it's now lost that confidence. Therefore, I'm not really looking to short it again. But of course, New Zealand CAD, which is still very within the channel and respecting this consolidation on the left here, this is a far better short in terms of meeting my criteria, which is why I'm looking at that one. So although Aussie CAD I'm bearish on, and I'm looking for selling opportunities, there isn't really a crystal clear one right now. We've broken out of a channel. So New Zealand CAD will make the watch list, but Aussie CAD wouldn't. And quite a few of the yen pairs as well. I've been looking to sell CHF JPY, but the price action wasn't clean last week. Looks like we are forming a lower high right now, and we could be making a move back to the lows. But again, just price action hasn't been clean, so I've stayed away. And most of the yen pairs have been in that situation as well. Euro yen price action hasn't been clean, so stayed away. We did break structure to the upside last week. It looks like we're trying to break to the downside again this week, so it's been all over the place. Let me have a quick look at oil. I haven't actually looked at oil yet. Okay, oil's still looking pretty bearish. Okay, so we're still doing those intraday pullbacks. Let me look at the hourly chart. Yeah, so last week I said if we pull back, retest the high, that could be a nice sort of short there as we continue with those lower highs. Almost made it there this morning. But yeah, oil's still looking very bearish. If anyone's looking to trade oil, I'll just focus on the sells here. Let me delete those orange marks, kind of clouding up price there. So yeah, in my book, it looks like oil has formed some really nice bearish structure once, twice, a third time. And again, this looks like our fourth in the form of a bit of a fake out of that resistance and of that trend line as well. But I would expect to see oil keep falling. I'm looking for a push right back to the wick low here and potentially further as well. So as long as we don't go and break back above this area, I would be very bearish in oil. I do think price is likely to keep falling. Go to the weekly chart, you can see we left a really big wick to the upside. So again, buying into that idea that that was a big fake out and price is likely going to start pushing to the downside. So hopefully oil can really kick in, especially with last week's close as well. Really nice kind of evening star pattern as well. So to me, it looks like oil is likely to keep falling. So if you're looking at oil, I'd only be looking at shorts, even if you're looking at intraday as well. Swing point of view looks like shorts. Intraday, of course, seeing bearish price action right now. I would say it's pretty corrective, so it's not really attractive to trade, but it's definitely seeing bearish structure. Starting journey with losing streak, but hey, you're still earning the year. Of course, Lauder. Again, trading is not about consistently winning all the time in terms of each trade, of course. Trading and taking losses and managing those losses is just as important. Actually, it's more important than the wins, because as I always say, when you're taking trades and everything's going well, it's very easy to be very confident with your trading. But when things are not going too well and you go through a losing streak, which every single trader will experience, that's the time that's actually going to be testing. That's the time that's actually going to make or break you, because a lot of people losing streaks will deter from their plan, change things up, or over risk, over leverage, FOMO, whatever, emotional decisions being made. So many different mistakes will be made during losing streaks, which are normal as a human. Again, things are not going well. It's you're not gonna be as confident as you are when things are not going well. But the trick is to be just as confident during losing streaks as with your winning streaks, really. And the best way to do that is just be so what's the word? To be so confident in your trading edge, because if you know your trading edge like the back of your hand, then okay, if I have losing streaks, it could be this bad. I can lose, up to 8, 9, 10 trades in a row. I know my win rates are roughly around here, and my risk rewards roughly around here as well. So you know what you're expecting, and you tested through your edge through a number of years. So you can see, okay, I've had some really good performing years of this, and I had some very bad years, or some break-even years of this. So you know exactly where you're at and what you can expect from your edge. Therefore, when you do go through the tough times, it just becomes expected, and it doesn't throw you off. But it's of course, you don't want to start the year off with a losing streak, but doesn't mean you have to finish the year with one. My advice is just look back over your trades, make sure you're doing the right thing, taking the right trades, and if you are, keep going, keep executing your trades. Because again, in terms of an edge only works when you take a number of trades. An edge isn't necessarily present with each and every individual trade. You could take 5 trades and lose. You could take 5 trades and win. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of contradiction there. But you take 50 trades, 100 trades, you're going to see the edge play out there. But yeah, keep going, Lauder. So yeah, it looks like oil's looking pretty bearish to me. I think commodities in general. I mean, not in general. Oil in general is looking pretty bearish, but other metals look pretty bullish as well. Let me see what's happening with copper. I haven't looked at this one in a while. Okay, last time I looked here, I was looking for some shorts, but price had a really big move to the upside. I was back in September. Since then, we've been pretty flat. Still keeping up with the higher lows there, but we are forming some lower highs too. Yeah, I'll probably say if we'll have another move back into the lows there, that'll be a nice place for a buy. And platinum. Okay, platinum hasn't done anything since I last spoke about this one. I think last time I spoke about this one, we were trading around here somewhere, and we've just been very flat. But I think this is still not a bad buy. Coming back into this area, see the higher lows, you can see the lower highs as well. Very, very consistent with them. So as long as we kind of completely missed that. So as long as we keep that up, we're probably going for another one, have another swing there. So platinum buys look good back at that low. Really strong support. We've bounced a few times. But overall, very, very bullish on the metals. Gold looks very bullish. Like I said, it's on the watch list, looking for buys in the retest. And silver, I do like the buys. However, it's taking its sweet time to really map out. Because the way I'm looking at silver is that we might just be going through another correction. So this move here might just be the correction of this high, really strong move to the downside. And we might just kind of be, correcting ourselves to continue back down again. Longer term for silver, I'm very, very bullish and looking for a push back to the high there. I am all for keep missing the highs there. I'm looking for a push back to the high there, but yeah, it hasn't really set up for that quite yet. Hopefully, we can see some momentum for silver. But as long as we stay corrective in this kind of way, we might have another sell. Which is weird because gold is very bullish. So I'm kind of expecting silver to pick up momentum and do what gold's doing. But it's been so slow. What's up, Gold Forever? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Happy to the impairs today. Weekly very bullish. Market sold off. Specific areas to look out for. Yeah, we're seeing some yen strength. I don't know why either. I haven't really looked into it, but the markets have been a bit hectic because, of course, the indices have sold off. Crypto sold off a little bit, or at least Bitcoin. I haven't looked at any other markets yet. Gold and silver did start off pretty bearish as well. And of course, yen pairs have sold off, and C share pairs are selling off as well. So we're seeing some momentum across the board right now. But yeah, yen pairs in general, I'm not really attracted to the price action. I think dollar yen's the only one that I actually do like, and which is on the watch list right now for me. I'm looking to buy this one around 154, 153.5. Really nice consolidation there. Really strong move to the upside. So to me, this looks like it's coming to a really nice level for a buy. Of course, you've got the 0.5 there with the fib. And the plan is to see another higher low form, just like we did over there, and potentially over there as well. So dollar yen to me looks like a good buy. In terms of the other yen pairs, they look very choppy. Euro yen, which you just mentioned, this one's been breaking to the upside and been back and forth. So as you can see, breaking the highs, now it's breaking the lows again. So to me, this looks like consolidation for Euro yen. I'm more interested in the push back to the high up there for a big sell rather than trying to get involved in here. Pound yen kind of likewise as well. I know we've seen some momentum this morning, but still very corrective. We're still putting in successive high lows here. So I wonder, is price going to put another one of those high lows in again to push up? Could do. In terms of a bigger swing, you kind of want to be up high, kind of away from the noise, at resistance, decent stop loss, maximize that risk reward as well. So I'm not really a big fan of pound yen's price action. CAD yen doesn't look too bad. I like the momentum we've seen this morning. I think CAD has been a bit weak as well. So if CAD yen can keep pushing, then I may be interested in a retest of the low here for some shorts to try and catch the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that could definitely pique my interest if I do see a nice breakout to the downside for CAD yen. But at the moment, still early doors. Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, those guys are just completely flat in their ranges, respectively. So again, there might be a nice buy off the low of the range there for Aussie, but not really something I'm interested in. New Zealand yen likewise as well, just rebounding the high, rebounding the low. So if you're looking for a bit of range play, these pairs are not too bad for it, but not interested myself. And then Swiss yen's not too bad. That one's actually still respecting market structure, but it's just been way too flat for me. So in terms of the yen pairs, dollar yen looks pretty good. And I would say the current level trading at 154, 153.5 would be the level that the buys look good. And yeah, we'll be looking for a move back to the highs there at 159. But yeah, the key thing I'm looking for is to see what the yen strength does, because if the yen pairs are ready to sell off, I'm expecting some heavy yen strength, and this to continue for like a long period of time. If it's just like a day or two, then we start to find support again, then it just doesn't really mean anything. We could start looking at some weakness again for the yen pairs. And the only pair that does look good right now is dollar yen. So this is the one I'm looking at, and it's at a good level now. So we'll keep a close eye on throughout the day for some buys. Jay Huntley, would you mind looking at Luna? Yes, I will have a look for you. Once you've thoughts on terms of it turning possibly bullish now. Alrighty then. Okay, let's have a quick look. Okay, so we are coming to some interesting. Let me go to the weekly chart. Is this the best one to look at? Oh, that is horrendous. Okay, let me just look at the one I was looking at. I was going to see if I could see a better chart somewhere else, but probably not. Anyway, let's go back to the daily. So again, in terms of a place to buy, it's actually a pretty good place. Number one, because we're right down at the lows here. But in terms of going bullish, I would wait for price to take out the lows first, because you can see price Binance chart. Okay, let me look for it. I didn't see Binance there. Oh, okay, is that it there? USDT. Okay, there. Wow. Okay, so in terms of this one, I'll still wait for price to take out the lows. Yeah, I'll still wait for price to take out the lows. So in terms of a nice place of it turning bullish, I'll wait for price to spike through the low here, just like what we did over here as well, because that's normally when price does turn around. So after we do take out the lows, then price will start to consolidate, and then boom, you see a nice little move, just like we kind of did here as well. Takes out the lows there, nice push to the upside as well. So that's where liquidity will lie, and that's where a lot of people will be starting to panic, because once the lows get taken out, especially in the world of crypto, I was like, oh no, sell my positions. This is going to zero, and that's the best time to actually find a buy. Doesn't necessarily mean that we'll just have a crazy move to the upside. It might just be another pullback like we did here for some more downside, but it's a decent time to buy. And currently at the moment, price is showing some really healthy bearish structure with these lower highs here as well, taking out the lows there. So I'd wait for this low to be taken out and then look for the buy, and then there could be some nice upside there. But yeah, it's still very much trending to the downside. I haven't looked at this one in a while. So yeah, 0.25. Wait for that low to be taken out. Let's see if we can get some decent wicks afterwards, and you could look at a decent buy again. But yeah, I wouldn't touch it now. All right, take care, Lauder. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Yeah, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel if you haven't done so already. Completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat and also in the description below. You can find updates there regarding Elevating Traders. You can chat with other traders there as well. Chat with myself. I do share setups and ideas that I'm looking at. So if you do want to share your ideas or see what I'm looking at, you can find all of that there in the Discord channel. So go check it out if you are interested. But guys, I appreciate you tuning in. We'll be live every day this week as usual. A lot of big news events as well. So we'll see what happens with those. Keep an eye on for that. But same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, make sure you pop in, say hi. And before you guys do leave, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I do really appreciate it. And of course, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.